Well, what do we have here? Tunneling and slugging reduction systems update. Before we break for the weekend, we wanted to update folks on the ongoing PTP discussions, which we have been following very closely since last week's dev update. We have heard you clearly that the current implementation of the tunneling reduction and slugging reduction system players have been testing this week feels too punishing for killers. For the release of Sinister Grace, we will hold back those features and their associated perk changes to iterate on some adjustments based on your feedback. We will test these features again in an upcoming PTB and will release them live when we believe they are ready. Thank you for your participation in our crucial testing process, and stay tuned for future updates as they progress. Realistically, they just went too far with it. For the tunneling, 6 hooks before you can 6 hooks to kill somebody is stupid high. Is stupid high. I mean, you already have the penalties for double hooking somebody and things like that, but 6 hooks is crazy. Even 5 hooks is kind of crazy. You can talk about maybe 4, maybe 3, somewhere in there. If you're going to do that, 4 or 3, 3 or 4, don't go any higher than that. And even there, even then you might need to drop it, but at least I would start there. But 6 is crazy. And for the slugging, survivors don't need tenacity. They don't need tenacity, and you can't use plot twist to automatically start farming the timer, the slug timer, by yourself. Get rid of the plot twist abuse and get rid of tenacity. We didn't need those. Take those away, and maybe that's where you start. Because that was just overkill. And sometimes when they make these changes, it feels like they have a bunch of people in a room, and a bunch of people make ideas, and it's like they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, so they just take all the ideas, and they put them all together, and they throw them out there. And that's why some perks end up getting trashed. That's my 2 cents. We'll see what they do with this. I think definitely the things you need to look at, you cannot require a killer to hook 6 hooks to kill. That's insane. That's stupid. That's breaking the game. And you shouldn't have survivors with base kit tenacity. That's too much. Like the slugging and being able to pick themselves up, I'm okay with that. Them building up the timer, I'm okay with that. And then not having to constantly build up the timer over and over again, I'm okay with that. But one, you can't give them tenacity to just run away, because what the hell did that have to do with slugging in the first place? The slugging we're going after is the slugging where you're just left on the ground the whole time, all the time. I like that your recovery is automatic and you don't have to hold a button down. That's good. You don't necessarily need tenacity. You don't need... And also the plot twist abuse. You cannot manufacture your own anti-slug timer to go up on your own as a survivor. Can't do that. That's stupid. Get rid of that. Probably get rid of tenacity too. Don't really need those things. Okay? Like slugging can be a part of the game. We just don't want it to be blatant. Like, I'm going to slug for the 4K and all this other stuff. And maybe if you want to add tenacity, maybe that's something that you add in like those slug for the 4K situations, so that the end of the game, when a game that's clearly over doesn't have to last 5 to 10 more minutes while the killer looks for the final remaining survivor. That's stupid too. Okay, like if that could be the compromise there, then so be it. You could have that there, but I don't even know if you need that there, as long as they can pick themselves up. I think that's kind of the key. They need to be able to pick themselves up, and that should be good enough. And I mean, if it's not, and it can still be crazily abused, and then you can revisit that. But I think tenacity for being on the ground is too much. You shouldn't be able to move faster and recover at the same time. That wasn't the problem with being slugged. The problem with being slugged is just being slugged in general, not being able to pick yourself up. End game, everybody's on the ground bleeding out, or if there's 2 people left, the game's 10 minutes longer because the killer wants to sweat and find that last person, and then it creates this stupid dynamic, which is one of the worst dynamics I feel that's in this game, is that 2 survivors left, 1 killer, 1 person's on the ground, killer's looking for the other person, and now it's like the remaining survivor is in this situation where, so they should just not try to survive anymore because they're in this situation now. are suddenly they're the bad guy because now they're not supposed to give the killer themselves up to end the game. That's not the point of the game. That's not how you want to play the game. You want survivors to always want to try and survive. You want killers to always try and kill, but you don't want it to be this long drawn out nonsense. So maybe you can do stuff to avoid that, but I don't know. I think we start with survivors being able to pick themselves up in certain situations after they've been slugged for so long. That's fine. Don't go. I'm just saying, tenacity, probably a no. Okay? If that needs to be revisited, we can revisit that, right? Tenacity, no. And self-manufacturing your slug timer to go up as a survivor with like stuff like plot twist, no. Don't do that. So get rid of those on the slugging side, and maybe that's a fine start right there. As the tunneling side, 6 hooks is stupid. 5 hooks is even stupid. You can talk about maybe 3 or 4, and maybe even then, like another thing, maybe you start with 3. I don't know. 3 separate hooks? Because if you're adding, let's say, 3 separate hooks, and then you can't repeat the hooks, so that's 3 separate people you're hooking at. That's not bad. I mean, maybe you do 4. You just don't do 6, and I don't think you even do 5, and see how that feels. And get rid of tenacity, get rid of the plot twist, anti-slugging nonsense, and then that's a good start. That's where I think we should go with that. And by the way, don't throw these perks into the trash, because there's not very many good perks anyway. If you're gonna nerf a perk, make it usable, but don't make it broken. Like Vigil is good. It's okay. It's not great. It's good for what you want it to be, but yeah, that one you can't have it stacking. That's stupid. That was an obvious thing. Don't make Vigil stack. That's stupid. It's stupid to have 4 people with Vigil and Sprint Burst, and then you get your Sprint Burst back in just mere seconds. It's pretty stupid. All right, the Sprint Burst is an exhaustion perk for a reason. Yeah. Anyway, let's play some Dead by Daylight.